Good evening. Time is now 6:30. Please stand and join the meeting.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start from that end and call your name, please.
Sean Pearson.
All right, both Gary and Don reached out to me saying that they would not be able to make it tonight. I did not hear from Ted. With the absence of two regular members, please I would like to extend public privileges to you for the evening. Do you accept?
I do.
Our first order of business is the review of the minutes from September 17th. And we have several corrections that need to be made. Sean, if you would just kind of give me that. All right, a couple of them have to do with voting. Did you write those down? Well, you have them, okay.
On the 2026 financial report, Sean made the motion, I seconded it, Gary abstained. And on the adjournment, I made the motion, Sean seconded. I'm not sure if Gary abstained on adjourning. I didn't write that one down. But Gary abstained on all votes leading up to that.
Any other corrections to be noted? Motion has been made to accept the minutes as amended by
One second. It doesn't say on here who created these minutes.
Oh, I did.
Should that be stated on the
Yeah, it
paper?
should be, I guess.
So I'm not sure you can vote on the acceptance of it. So I'll make the motion to accept the minutes with the addition of the person that created the minutes.
You got all that, Kate? Those in favor of accepting the minutes with the corrections made, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right, so we have three abstentions, 3 in favor. All right, our next item on the agenda is citizens' participation. We'll now open the floor up with a couple of guidelines. Firstly, we'd like you to use the microphone so that we can hear everything that's being said. Comments need to be directed to the board. Comments should be limited to the topics on the agenda tonight. And based on the number of people here, we're going to limit it to 3 minutes. So if there's anybody that would like to make comment at this time, please proceed to the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Gary Souza. I'm a resident of Plainfield for the last 44 years. I spent 37 years in law enforcement. The reason why I'm here this evening is I read on social media that there was going to be an appropriation or asked for appropriation of $34.5 for a forensic audit. Last I knew, a forensic audit was basically of a larceny or embezzlement. And I don't know if this is the case, but if this is the case and it's probable cause, then I suggest going to the state's attorney's office. If not, I think it can be handled within the house rather than spending $34.5. The other thing that I read is about the asset forfeiture. Asset forfeiture is to enhance drug enforcement. Now, that fund is donated to the police department by the court. It's a court order. And that is basically used for confidential informants. And unfortunately, drug dealers today, they don't give you an invoice and they don't take a check. All come in cash. Okay? And I know there's documents of that at the police department where the money is dispersed. Okay? That should not be audited at all because it's not taxpayers' funds. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. One other thing, if I may. Thank you. Got one thing. If on the forensic audit, okay, if there was no embezzlement or any type of fraud, then I think a public apology should be made to the police department. Thank you.
And thank you for your service, sir.
Scott Shelwood, 35 Sterling Road, Moosomin, Connecticut. So before I start, I'd just like to remind people, this is not about the rank and file everyday police officer in the town of Plainfield, but rather the way funds are accounted for in these cases, in most cases unaudited. I have nothing but respect for the rank and file of the Plainfield Police Department. Everything I will be speaking about tonight was obtained through multiple FOI requests. On Wednesday, September 17, 2025, the Board of Finance made a historical block of a line item transfer. Never has the BOF blocked any line item transfer from happening, never mind preemptively, but never after the fact either. There was line availability in the contingency fund of $50,000, which could have easily been appropriated to cover this line item transfer. You blocked it. The special duty account is another account that brings a lot of questions to my mind as I brought these FOIs and got them back from the finance director. Did you know that from 2021 to 2025, that line item, that account we spent $1,454,726. I see tonight you have the director of the rec department here, because you guys for 2 years have beaten up the rec department while we're trying to rectify cash going in and out of that department. What are we talking? 30, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 a year? So 60,000 times 5, that's 300,000, but we're not willing to look at the 1.454 million to make sure that is balanced, that what we're spending and should really be taken in as well. But we don't look at that, correct? And I also want to put one myth to bed about the asset forfeiture account and how this came about. It was not retaliation about the no confidence vote delivered by the police union through a newspaper article, but rather it has been a long-standing request from the auditor and the town of Plainfield finance director. In my hand, I have emails dating back to October 26th of 2017, and then multiple emails going forward. There are requests from the Director of Finance to be able to have that audited, because again, the town auditors want to audit it. The state says it's perfectly fine to audit it, as it should be an audited account. Nobody's auditing that account. Nobody's looking to commingle the account. I know in some of the emails from the former chief, he talked about commingling the money into the general fund. None of these emails talk about commingling the money into the general fund. It's all about auditing the funds to see what goes in and to see what comes out. You can easily redact information out of it that you don't want the public to see. It's done all the time. So what you do with personnel records, if somebody starts asking for personnel stuff, you can redact things and still expose certain things that are being looked for. Lastly, some of the FOIs that I filed, I have invoices, cash checks from purchases of the asset forfeiture account. Not all of them match. Sometimes I got a check because that's all the Director of Finance had, and sometimes I got an invoice. For a state statute, 15% of the funds received must be used for drug education and 85% for detecting, investigating, apprehending, and prosecuting people for drug crimes and training police on gang violence. Some of the examples proposed when I talked to the state are surveillance cameras, police dogs, bicycles, etc. that should be paid for out of the asset forfeiture account. These invoices that I have in my hand were made by the Plainfield Police Department from Joey Guns in Plainfield. That is an ethical violation. It is not illegal. The person who owns Joey Guns is the Plainfield Commissioner Chairman. And that is an ethics violation and needs to be stopped. That is one reason why this fund should be looked at and audited. I'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Ariana Landry, working in Champaign Street, Moosup, Connecticut. The forensic audit is just another fishing expedition. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars. It's completely an unnecessary politically motivated tactic. In February, Mr. Cunningham told me that the PD did not need 21 officers and an SRO. During that budget season, the Board of Selectmen cut $387,308, and he took out the SRO. Many people spoke at the Board of Ed and Board of Finance to advocate for this critical need. Thus, we made it happen. Part of these cuts was also the red dot and the tasers, which are necessary equipment updates, which would total approximately $20,000. The proposed forensic audit is $34,500. How can we afford this forensic audit if we can't afford these necessary pieces of equipment? This forensic audit was only brought up after a vote of no confidence was given by the police union. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Joey Guns. If the purchases from the PD were so unethical, why did the selectman and the finance director sign half the checks? Simple question. If I was doing something wrong back in 2023, why didn't they say something? I told the selectman a while ago, leaders don't lead their people to fail, you lead your people to win. So if it was bad then, he should have said something then. Now it's a problem. Plus, some of the stuff that was said about the special duty and whatnot, we don't even cash checks. We don't even have the money. We have nothing to do with the money from special duty. The town does. All that money goes to the town. That's it.
Anyone else, Steve?
When we put the agenda together, we knew there would be a big discussion about forensic audit and the decisions that need to be made. When it comes up on the agenda, we're going to allow both the police commissioner and the selectmen to do their own little presentation, I'll say. I want to thank Joey for definitely doing that, and I just want to let Kevin know we're going to do it again at the end of the agenda.
Naomi Smith, Community App, Plainfield. I just want to address one of the statements that Mr. Charwood made. It's even in our audit report for 2024 that anything of an appropriation out of a line item that's allocated in the annual budget that is at the end of the year, if there's monies left over, can be appropriated out of that. Until that happens, that money is appropriated for that item. Anything over $10,000 requires a town meeting and a public hearing. Anything over $50,000 requires a referendum. That's statutory, it's our charter, it's also in the annual report, where the auditor actually stipulates how an appropriation needs to be done. I don't argue if there's $50,000 in the contingency fund and Board of Selectmen want to put a request to use that money, they can do that, but not out of the audit when it was already allocated for the annual auditing company. So that's all I have to say.
Anyone else? All right, at this time, I will close the citizens' participation, and we will move on to our next order of business, which is discuss the new and developing financial report for the rec department. So that, I would welcome you to the microphone. If you want to just give us an overview, tell us what you're doing and the steps that you're taking.
Okay, so hello. I will do my best to explain this. It's a work in progress, as we've been talking about, with the finance director position being open right now. There's going to be a little bit of a stalemate with some things and waiting till a new financial director comes in, but Elaine, bookkeeping, and myself have been working closely to try and fix things as they show up. So we have our general fund budget, as you all know. That's voted on. That's taxpayers' money. That is kind of what it is. We have been creating a new account, which is the 75 fund for recreation. So it is a revenue and expenditure account. So each of the line items has a revenue line, which is what we're taking in for all these programs, as well as an expenditure line for those same programs. So basically the purpose of this is to try and make things a little clearer of where the money is coming in and where it's going out. Because I know prior to me there were a lot of questions, I'm understanding, about the 1123 fund, which kind of ended up having a lot more in it than should have been, for whatever the reason. So this is kind of our efforts with finance to try and clear that up to make sure that that doesn't happen again. So we've been line iteming out things like summer concerts, adult sports, basketball, toys for kids. Those are just some of the line items you have in front of you. The numbers are going to look a little off. There's a reason for that. So our MyRec system, which is our software that takes in registrations and some payments, we use Authorize.net in order to utilize the credit card, debit card aspect. Authorize.net only allows one stream for a fund. It cannot do a split stream. In order to do that, we'd have to open up a secondary Authorize.net account, which is a little complicated and a lot of work. So we're waiting to see if this process works first before we go that step. But because it's a single stream coming in, finance then has to go in and reconcile everything by hand. So they have to pull out everything and apply it either to the general fund or to the recreation fund. So that takes a little bit of time, especially waiting for everything to come through, whether it's checks or expenditures, whatever that may be. So once this is all caught up, which is what Elaine is working on right now, is to catch up over the last couple months of the transfers into these new accounts. It will still be about a month behind. So like today, it would be registering last month. And that's just because of that month gap in reconciliation time between the accounts. So right now, the numbers are a little bit off because we still have checks coming in. We still have some checks that weren't cashed yet on our expenditure end. And we do also have a couple extra accounts that were the old accounts for like kids, Toys for Kids, our Halloween festivity program fund. Those things are waiting to be transferred in to their new line items. So those numbers aren't accurate because of that. Unfortunately, right now, Elaine doesn't have the authorization to do the transfers, so we're kind of working on how to get that moved over so we can kind of level off and start getting that fund back up to date as far as those expenditures go. It is going to take another probably year because some of these accounts had money in them from last year. Not a lot, a few $100s in most cases. So what we'll do is at the end of the year, we'll probably have to roll over a couple hundred into the new line items, and then the rest will go into the general fund. Next year, we'll be pulling in less to accommodate, so it should balance out to that 0-0 is our goal. Any extra revenue would then go back to the town general fund at the end of the year. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We did just add 2 new line items due to the fact that as we're progressing through the calendar year, we're developing other programs and we're like, this doesn't fit in anything we have. So we've had to create a couple more line items. So those are the smaller things we're working through throughout the year. As we hit them, we kind of think through what's the best way to make this as clear as possible, as easy a flow as possible for finance and ourselves, but also to make sure everything's accounted for. So it is a work in progress throughout the rest of the year. So I hope that makes sense, but I'm glad to hopefully answer any questions you have. I may not have all the answers, but...
Have you uncovered anything that you feel was a critical error in prior processing?
I myself have not.
Okay.
No. And I can't speak for those before me, so I don't know what they were told or not told to do with the various accounts. I know I've asked a lot of questions, that's just who I am, much to the chagrin, I'm sure, of some people. But I'd rather ask and know, whereas other people are more independent and just try to do it with what they've been given. So, I can't really speak to that fully, but I personally have not seen anything of concern in that nature.
On the back page of this report that you gave us, you were showing, a net surplus of $33,393. Can you speak to that?
Right now, the only thing I can say is these numbers are not accurate because we do have those deposits coming in. Elaine did share with me there's at least 3 or 4 outstanding deposits that are processing. They haven't reflected on the report yet because the banks are still in process. So these numbers, like I said, are going to look a little different because right now some accounts may look like we're overspending where others are showing like nothing coming in. For instance, the line dancing line item is showing nothing coming in, or going out rather, and for the expenses we are paying the instructor. So there are expenses there, they just have not processed through the system yet. As I said, there is about a 1 month delay just normally that will be happening. So this will look different next month even from this month.
Anyone else have any other questions?
Well, yeah, that, you just use line dancing as an example. And the way I read it, the budget doesn't allow for any money to come in or go out. It looks to me like under expense. Line dancing, budgeted zero.
So the 75 fund is not in the general fund budget. So it does not go into the budget of the recreation department. These programs are ones that are meant to pay for themselves. So basically whatever we take in registration fees and costs should offset by the expense of whoever the instructor is, as well as any supplies that we need to purchase.
So your budget is $532,000 for the year. And I'm just trying to clarify what you're saying. This account, in or out, doesn't show up over here.
Correct.
Okay. That was my initial question. I know you weren't even here. 2 years ago, that was where we were with where's this money coming in and where is it going out? And I think we talked about it. Sean, I remember it was like an $80,000 discrepancy.
There was a lot of money stashed in it. There was a lot of money in that account that nobody could quite account for what it was.
Right.
We knew where it was coming from and how it was getting there,
Right.
but what it was for, and whether it should be there was the question. And why it was being held there and not coming back into the town.
And
If the town is paying for the programs, it should be coming back.
And unfortunately, Kelly came to me last month, the month before, and she showed me, and she gave me one copy, and I showed it to Dean, and then, I don't know, I don't have it. But maybe somebody in the office has it. It looked like a check register. It's exactly what it looked like. Collected, wrote out, credit and debit. And she said to me that she would be giving that to us like monthly until we didn't want it. And she's not here to verify that. She
Yeah,
showed that to me,
unfortunately,
and
I've not seen that.
But maybe Elaine knows. It's got to be on the way.
I can certainly ask her, but I've not seen it myself.
Do you understand that this is exactly why I've been questioning you, or we've been questioning your department?
This is the start, though. We've started the conversation now.
Yeah.
And with the when a new director comes in, a new finance director comes in, hopefully we can start here and move forward. And with the rec director and the new finance director and then the chair and selectmen, whatever they do, hopefully we can get something more understandable for us.
Yeah, so that's the attempt of why we set up these funds, is so that you know what is the general fund, which is taxpayer money, versus what are the programs we're running at just run cost, right? So, whether it's an adult sport, whether it's theater, whatever the case is, we try to keep costs low for residents if possible. We still have to pay these to get instructors in and things like that, but we're breaking it over how many people do we need to run so that we can keep it as low as we can.
Can I ask you one question? I really don't get why I asked you this question. I'm waiting for next month to things to kind of balance out. But you have summer theater. It shows we were out at $36. But yet it cost us almost $2,000 to run it.
Yes, so the cost for running it is mostly the instructor rates.
Well, we only brought in $36.
I'm sorry?
We only brought in $36.
Where are you? That's what I'm saying. So I'm also in the process, let me back up
So
too.
we just haven't reconciled that all the way.
Some of that hasn't been reconciled, correct?
All right,
The other piece is I'm also making sure with Doty, I'm checking in to make sure all our staff are line itemed appropriately for where their money should be coming out of, because we have found a couple mistakes there. So those are things we're working on as well. Sorry, it took me a minute to find the line.
I'm just kind of, I don't mind having programs where we lose on, but that's a lot of my
Well,
program.
and again, the line where you're seeing the top section there, the 59s, those are our revenues, so that's what we're pulling in.
Oh, okay.
And the bottom is the expenditures.
I was thinking that was what our cost was.
No, so the expenditures are the bottom of the 69s.
Okay, all right. I must.
And again, that's not entirely accurate, because like I said, the salary should be coming out of that as well, so there's some things we're still correcting.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, this is a great start, appreciate it. All right, next order of business is financial report from the Board of Ed.
Would you like me to do it here, or would you like me to tell you?
Whatever you're most comfortable with, as long as everybody can hear you.
Good evening, everyone. For anyone who'd like to leave early, there is a great concert taking place right now at Plainfield High School, and there's food. Taking a look at our fiscal, I'm going to step back here for the purpose of trying to work the mic. Taking a look at our audit for 24-25, audit selections have begun and are being completed and received. Courtney Brennan, our business manager, is still assessing getting all the audit requests submitted as quickly as possible. We are very much ahead of schedule with where we are. At this time, we are... Thank you, Mrs. Brennan. At this hour, we're still working with the town, and the town's business manager is coming in on Fridays for half a day to assist us with any of those items. For the one piece holding us up there is that there are still accrued wages from the fiscal year 25 4 payroll periods in the summer that need to be accrued back. The auditing firm is working to make sure that's done correctly, and when we're done with that, we'll be done with our key pieces. 2% set-aside account currently has a balance of $51,136.22. You're going to see requests coming up for the 2% set-aside, particularly related to the baseball and softball fields. We will have enough teams this year to field JV and varsity and possibly freshmen as well. We are going to need to use all 4 fields. 2 of our fields are in very good shape. 2 fields, one specifically the lower field at Shepherd Hill, and the field that's closest to the road at the upper Shepherd Hill for baseball are going to need some work, and we're currently getting quotes for that to make sure that takes place. We'll see that coming out of the 2% set aside. Aside from that, you'll see our grant and expenditures report attached. There is a new grant, that's the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assisting Grant. That application was submitted on September 29th. It's been approved by the State Department of Ed. For those who don't know, that grant, which is not a very large grant, helps us provide tutoring and largely transportation for homeless students, so that if a student's declared homeless and we have to transport them from another town to Plainfield schools, that's primarily where that's paid from. Included is the fiscal year e-trip report for the month of August. It's reconciled the bank reports. We have a meeting coming up with the first selectman to talk about what health insurance looks like for fiscal year 26-27, because we expect to see some changes in cost in e-trip and the state plan. Aside from that, everything is there, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Couple questions. Trial balance, has that been submitted?
It hasn't submitted for all of the federal funds. The last one that the auditing firm is still reconciling the federal funds. So he has all the documentation from us, and they are working, so Karen is working with our auditing firm.
So the 24-25 fiscal year, that audit is actually already initiated that process.
Absolutely, yes. A lot of audit selections began on October 1st, where all the reports that were submitted in the month of September, they have started to review them. They make selections out of the report that we select, that we submit, and then they give us a secondary report that we then have to provide backup documentation for their selections. They've already begun reviewing those and have actually proposed a couple of these selections.
last year you had help from an outside firm. Are you doing that again this year?
Yes, so that's the accounting auditing firm that we are contracting with is Jeremy Schreier from Houston Chick Legitimate.
Absolutely, that's how you pronounce it.
And yes, we are still contracting with him until we have a clean trial balance, and until our system is 100% correct, we are still
Okay, great, thank you.
Outside of that, just as something else to mention, you'll see in our board packet, and I can share more if you'd like, we've been quite successful with our government auctions of retired equipment this last fall. We have, just in this last fall, raised about $6,600 through the auction of old, dismantled, retired equipment. Some of it's been sitting unused for years. So we'll see that returned to the town, and you may see a request for a sander that comes along with that. As they say, winter is coming.
You have estimated cost for a sander?
Oh, we do. The estimated cost for this sander is $6,200, and we'll be returning $6,600. And just in closing, if there's no more questions, I want to remind the Board of Finance, you won't see me next month. The Board of Ed and Board of Finance meetings take place at the same time in November because we have 2 new members to swear in. And as superintendent, we won't actually have an acting chair at that time, so I have to be at that meeting, hosting it and starting it when they elect the chair.
Any other questions? At this point, I'll entertain a motion that we accept this presentation. All right, motion made to accept by Lynn, do I have a second? Motion made by Lynn, seconded by Stephanie. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right, our next order of business, thank you, was to discuss the final financial report for the fiscal year 2025, but that was not made available to us. So, I will motion that we table that till next meeting. Motion moved to table by Lynn. Do I have a second? Seconded by Linda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay. Next order of business is presentation of the financial report for fiscal year 20 and 2026. I do have a couple of questions. Hopefully this first selectman can answer them. The unearned revenues, we have not received anything for school resource officer since this was implemented. All right, so you have, okay, so an invoice has to be generated and then, okay. What's that? The other question I have is on the back tax revenue. We have a nice little bump there. Have we been receiving anything from the wood burning plant?
I got some, can I speak?
Okay, please.
I got a partial payment. They owe me over $1 million, and I got about $120,000 just this week.
This week?
Yesterday.
Yes, okay. else have any questions on page 1? All right, on page 2, under human resource, could you give us an update on that position, what's been happening, please?
So the intent there was to hire through NECOG. We have already gone through the interview process and hired. That person will be starting with NECOG next week. And then we anticipate November 3rd that person will be starting here. We anticipated first that it would be here for 2 days out of the week. Because there's no other town that's caught on to that idea, we'll probably have that person either 2.5 or 3 days. So they'll be starting, and we're going to have an office area set up for that person. So that's where we stand right now.
So Kevin, is that a salary job? Does it make a difference?
It's a contracted job.
Okay.
That we just pay for that fee, that's it.
So they are not a town employee? They're
Correct.
NECOG.
It's contracted through NECOG.
Any other questions on this page?
What are we doing about the finance director?
We have received 19 applications. I've tried to sit down with the chair and also Linda to talk about what we go to the next steps. I'm starting to set up the interviews next week.
How soon do you think we'll see that position filled? Because we're in audit season.
We're in what?
We're doing our audits.
Oh, yeah. Well, we do have Kelly who will continue doing the audits. She'll come in on a half day on Fridays and continue doing audits. For that position, I'm hoping to get that person in by the, if possible, first week in November as well.
So is she under a retainer?
Yes.
How is that working?
She's a contractor like other people we have as contractors.
Is there a contract on that?
Yeah, she has a contract.
For that position now then?
Yes, just like we do with other people who are part-time or contracted.
Any other questions on that one? Page. All right, on page 3, under registration and registrars, just a general question, do we anticipate any new mandates from the state that's going to impact the money usage?
We have all our mandates at this point. I don't see them making any changes this late in the game.
Any questions on that page? The next page, under the police department, on the school resource officer, was that individual assigned to the town during the summer months, and did he incur any cost for that?
That person, I believe, just started for doing the SRO position first day of school.
Okay. I do want to go back to page 1. Oh, on the building and permits, had quite a sizable jump from the previous month. Can you speak to that? We budgeted 250,000, we're already able to see 217,000.
I know that we had some additional revenue coming in from both Amazon and Uline.
building inspector's vehicles, we dumped a lot of money into that already this year.
Could you repeat that? I couldn't hear you.
Building inspectors, vehicle expenses, we put a lot of money into that truck already this year. There's something going on with it, there's a new vehicle in it.
You talked about page 5?
Page 4, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Vehicle expenses.
There were some, I can get you a list of what they were. Yeah, there was some damage that was done on the roof. We had squirrels getting in, so we had some work done as well as brakes.
Oh, that's that little SUV, right?
Yeah, that little.
Okay, no, I was thinking it was a pickup truck. I was thinking of a fire marshal's truck.
Any questions on page 5?
Under economic development, business, what is that?
I'm not sure, but I can look it up for you for the next meeting.
Thank you.
On page 6, we talked about this a little bit last month. We're anticipating a major increase in health insurance costs. Do we have any type of projection on that?
As you heard before, we are planning on having a meeting on that, so we can see where we can go, what's the best avenue for the town. It'll be working with the town and the Board of Education. We've had some issues within each ship where we have some people leaving, we have some larger claims, so those are things we have to sit down and talk about, what might be the best avenue to go.
I'm not sure if you talked about it in the last meeting, but the animal control just doesn't seem to have much money left in a lot of their lines.
If you remember from previous meetings, we talked about animal control. They have their own line items, so that's why it's usually zeroed out. And it's handled between the animal control office and the finance director.
Under recreation supplies and expenses, they're only down, they got like 30% left. Are they gonna be okay, or are they gonna be tight?
I'd like to ask if you're okay with it.
It's going to be tight.
Yep.
We've had a lot of HVAC repairs and costs.
That's coming out of supplies and expenses?
It did this year, yes.
The other thing is that you will hear probably in the future that we're having a big problem with the senior side of the building with the HVAC, so that might be coming up in next year's budget.
For basic supplies, we should be fine.
Any more questions on 6? If not, let's move on to 7.
Go back to 6. Is not all the money going from probate?
What was that?
All the money allocated for probate is gone.
It's a payment up front. Front loading.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions on 7?
Yeah, what are we doing with Meals on Wheels?
That may be a situation where it gets paid at a certain time. I'll verify that for you.
Are we still doing it?
Yes.
Where?
Yes. We had to change out because of cost increases. Instead of doing 2 or 3 times a week where the Meals on Wheels would bring the fresh items, we changed to a 1 delivery a week on a Friday, and so they get 5 meals on a Friday.
Oh, okay.
How are you doing on your paving this year? Paving?
The paving now has been pushed out a little bit. We were supposed to start on Monday doing the millings where 205 meets, and unfortunately with the rain it had to be pushed back a day. Now that it was pushed back a day to start the millings, now the company's telling us they're probably not going to do the actual paving until next Monday. So we're on target for that monies that are available right there.
So we'll get something done before winter?
Yes.
I assume we have plenty of sand going into winter?
The bid just went in, so we'll get that bid at the next board select meeting. But the highway supervisor said we do have enough in case we start without the first bid.
I remember a few years ago, we had an October ice storm. Any other questions? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion that we accept the financial report as presented. Motion to accept the financial report as presented. Motion made by Sean, to accept, seconded by Lynn, to accept the financial report as presented. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Our last order of business for the evening is to discuss and act upon a request from the Board of Selectmen to hold a town meeting for the purpose of appropriating $34,500 from the fund balance to conduct buildings and quiet. At this time, there are certain things that we need to have before we take the next step. So at this point, what I would like is for the first selectman to approach the microphone and explain to us why this needs to go forward.
Thank you. As we mentioned before, we have a RFP put out initially for the forensic audit.
Okay, let me just, you're going to use a lot of acronyms. It would be helpful if you explain to the audience what RFP stands for.
Request for proposal. So you put it out there to bid for different companies to come forward with what they could do for you based on your proposals. So you put the request out there and line everything up. So the audit would have included the totality of the police department scheduling, the timekeeping, outside duty, accounts, invoices, overtime slips, and other payroll-related records maintained by that department. That was one item. The other item was that the other town payroll records for the police department maintained by the town finance department. The third item was for the procurement documentation for all of the department purchases made by the department or town for that department. And the fourth item was to talk about the asset forfeiture account transaction records maintained by the town or the department. So that's what was the actual request for proposal. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to actually review all of the payroll in its written form from the before and after the ADP process ran. We wanted to make sure that it was had checks and balances to verify the accounting was correct previously going to ADP. We had numerous discrepancies with and without ADP. So we want to go back to where they had paper to see what happened before to verify everything was correct, and that's why we would like to have an audit. We don't know if the people were overpaid, underpaid. We want to make sure that it's correct.
There's also a question on the question of the purchase of the block guns for the police department. There was no RFP. I can't find any for that. While the town has an invoice, the town has no receipts for the purchases, no checks for payment, and no serial number information for the guns.
When was that done?
I'm sorry.
When was that?
I get to the, I think it was 2022. So the other thing is we wanted to verify the special duty checks that were coming in from the, is being given to the police department, not the town. We require accountability for that account. And then again, the review of the asset forfeiture accounts. We wanted to look back from time periods 2020 to present, I think it was 2017 to present. The idea of having an asset forfeiture account is supposed to be done with an EIN number. That's how it's supposed to run, the town's EIN number, so you can do tracking. You're not looking for information that is supposed to be a name of an informant or anything of that nature, and again, those could be redacted out. The concern is that if the previous accounts prior to 2022 did not have that, because Kelly was looking at that way back from 2012, talking to members of the Board of Finance about that as well, and I think in 2021, two of the members of the Board of Finance were speaking with Kelly about that. So the issue was that the previous accounts did not have an EIN number on it because when Kelly called the bank, they were not allowed to give out that information because it wasn't a town EIN number. So we want to find out what was going on with the accounting prior to that.
I'm confused because I believe it was one of our citizens just brought forth that I think it was Mr. Sewell, that a forensic audit would be something criminal. So I'm not, I don't hear anything criminal here. Can you point that out for me?
Well, again, if you're using an account that doesn't have a town EIN number on it, what's going on?
This has been going on for 10 years.
And by the way, it's the Board of Finance's responsibility, as you heard before, that they're supposed to be doing an audit on these accounts. And the auditor himself said they haven't been done.
Is there a difference between an audit and a forensic audit? There is.
There is. Again, with the issue of how do you take money out of a asset forfeiture account and utilize it for purchases of things that should be in your regular budget. You shouldn't be using those asset forfeiture accounts for sale and invoices for purchases from a business, for cleaning gun cleaning kits or different any item for the police. Those should be in the budget.
That's going on. Invoices for that? Anything? You have anything that says that that's going on?
Hey, Sean, we can't hear you down there.
I asked if you had any kind of evidence to prove that that's what was going on. I'm assuming this was for ammunition,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know what, that wasn't coming out of. Do you know what account that was paid out of? Training?
I'd have to go back and verify from Kelly, but I believe it was asset forfeiture.
It says on the bottom. But if it was used for,
Did you go for training? Did you both say training or both of them?
it's written in pen, I don't know. It's like a version of a stamp, that's what they received it. That's what we use for agreement. I would think that they would put a lot of attention to training, but the new tax practice. Who decides what account that gets paid out?
Talking about those two,
Those two invoices, who decides where those get that?
that should be part of your budget.
Right, but who was the person when those got paid and they got listed to a line item? Who decides what line item they got listed to?
That would be Kelly. I mean, I could verify that with her though. I think there's a lot more information we need from Kelly.
This that you just showed us says pending.
And that could have been from previously. I can verify again from Kelly when they were paid and how they were paid.
These aren't finalized invoices, they're pending.
So what was the date on those?
September 2023.
I think they've processed by now. Again, I will ask Kelly to give a report for that.
So, now that I have this piece of paper in my hand, what's the issue with it?
It shouldn't be paid out of asset forfeiture. It should be part of your budget.
Well, you just said that Kelly decides where it comes out of.
Again, I'll have to check with Kelly exactly where those came from, but I believe they were from asset forfeiture.
Because here's a finalized invoice, Joey's Guns, and it was paid out of, general fund. And it's final. Yeah.
Where was that one from?
I have it right here. I got copies of the fourth meeting. My question is, the forfeiture account, isn't that allowed to be used for anything related to raids, like for drugs,
Correct.
which you would use funds for?
Which is what?
We would use funds for that, correct?
I'm sure you would.
So, that sounds like we use that account for that.
So then you would say the same thing for a police vehicle, or you could say the same thing for salary.
Not salary, I
Well,
think, but I don't know, that's why I'm asking.
This to me looks like somebody in the police department approved this, and it says right there, training, approved for payment, training account. And this one says training account, the same place with the same stamp and the same initials, but down here somebody wrote in a different account, asset forfeiture invoice. So, I'm not sure what, well, I am sure what I'm looking at, but I don't see how it, I'm still looking for a reason why we're using the police department for something illegal or immoral. I mean, we do regular audits for all the departments.
But those two accounts do not get audited.
This is the same thing I'm asking about the rec department. Those accounts don't get audited. We're trying to, we're not calling a forensic audit on the rec department. And it's been going on for a while. And I don't think we should. I mean, I don't know. Is there a way to resolve this?
What's the major, what's our major concern? Are we concerned with the payroll, or are we concerned with the forfeiture account?
Concerned with all of them.
What?
Straighten out.
This started with the payroll, right? I thought this
The
was all.
initial discussion was with payroll, and Kelly and I spoke about the other items as well.
So maybe we need a forensic audit of the payroll across the whole town. Maybe we got this problem across the whole town.
Every department has access to finances. There's a few that do.
But if you're saying the police are screwing up the paperwork on the, how do we know it's not happening across the town? And if our finance director's having trouble reconciling everything, maybe it's a bigger problem.
I don't think a lot of other departments actually handle transactions with money.
Well, I have several questions. You said there was 11 bids.
Correct.
Where are they?
I didn't know you wanted them tonight, but I can get it for you.
Okay. The other thing is, we have to consider what the legal ramifications are to the town of this. If we conduct a forensic audit on the police department, the rec department, and the town as a whole, a forensic audit, and my understanding is you're looking for illegal activity, whether it be fraud or something else. And I think that if we dive into that, we're asking for a whole lot of problems. I think that the rec department has already made some steps. They've answered some questions for us, and they've taken corrective measures to be as open with what their transactions are. We've had some ongoing conversations on the progress of that. I believe the police department is probably making some steps to correct some things that may have been handled differently. You talked about this EIN account. Do we have an EIN account right now?
The current does have the EIN.
All right, so
starting 2022.
Looking back, we didn't have one. We have one now. Does the town have access to look at that EIN account?
It's starting in 2022, yes.
Okay, so we corrected something 3 years ago. All right. We talked about purchase for guns. Do drugs transactions? Question for you, Chief. Do drug transactions always involve cash?
Drug transactions? Yes.
Okay. So firearms are never involved in that?
Always.
They're always involved in that. Okay, so that's part and parcel. And what type of firearm would you take to this type of transaction? Would you take something that's registered?
Our guns are not technically registered.
Okay.
Yes, we can bring our guns.
All right.
But I'd be more than happy to answer several questions and
All right.
back a little more in detail about some of that information.
All right. My biggest concern is we have some legal obligations here. And as this has been developing, I think the next time we have this discussion, we need to have a town's attorney here. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?
It's fine.
Okay. I would like to turn the podium over to either the chair of the police commission or the chief of police. If you have some questions that have been brought up, some comments that you would like to be made.
I'm going to push out that mic, but that sound is horrendous. And I know you've been getting up 50 times, but I was going to put that to the side.
Try to manage it, you know?
Yeah, I know. That's tough. First of all, thank you. I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to come up and actually speak on behalf of this. And Mr. Charwood, I appreciate the great initial comments. I do appreciate that. I'm going to address one thing first, and one of them is going to be outside duty. To kind of explain how outside duty works. Outside duty is not paid by taxpayers. It is paid by contractors. What happens is a contractor actually requests an officer to conduct traffic control. They have to submit a form requesting that officer. And I'm just going to use round numbers off the top of my head. So the officer itself, contractual, makes a certain amount of money, and let's just say that's $85 an hour. We, as in the town, charge roughly $135 an hour. So there's a big difference of what we charge compared to what the officer actually makes. But getting back to how it actually works. So that contractor actually fills out a form. We give them an officer. The officer has to sign on the air, explain to them we are out at this job. We take the job, the cop has to sign an outside duty form from the contractor saying that he completed his hours of work. Well, outside duty, or special duty, so to say, has minimum hours worked. So for instance, if they only need a cop for 2 hours, they're getting paid for 4. If they need a cop for 7 hours, they're getting paid for 8. It's contractual. It's part of the process. Once they get that form, they must submit that form. It has to be signed by a supervisor. My administrative assistant sends out an invoice to that contracting company. That contracting company sends the police department a check in the amount covering $135 an hour. In turn, we put that whole pile together and we forward it to the town. We do not cash it. We do not deposit it anywhere. We do not put it anywhere. It's on a bank statement form and submitted to the town. Under no circumstances is that money touched. You said $1.7 million? No idea. I actually thought it would actually be more because there's a lot of hours that are actually going into it. If that's not audited, shame on the town for not auditing that because there's nothing there. They have all the funds regarding that. That $1.7 million is paid by contractors. All contractors. We don't touch that money. I can't spend it. I have no idea what's in that account. I have no idea what comes out of the account. I don't even know the line item. I don't even get to see it. So I have no clue what they're referring to about auditing. Feel free. Do whatever you have to do regarding that account. I got no clue on how much is actually in there. That is actually done by the town. Any questions about outside duty? All right.
Just go back one second.
Yes.
You said they get paid, if they're there for 2 hours, they get paid for 4.
Correct.
The contractor paying for 4 hours, or they paying for 2?
Paid for 4.
They're paying for 4?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yep. Same thing, like it's minimum 4, then minimum 2 hour increments.
Okay.
It's different if it's in-house overtime, which is taxpayer money and under my budget. So that's a little different than this.
So Mario, that money goes right into their check, they're the same.
Town cuts in the check on the overtime. They just plug in he worked 12 hours. They get an overtime slip to verify that, and they get their requesting slip, and they get the receipt that says paid invoice, and I actually fill out a transmittal at the PD so we know who we delivered that to, on what date and what time we deliver that to.
You interchanged overtime, you said overtime.
Special duties overtime.
Special duty is considered overtime.
Yes.
But the check, they send the check to you for the total amount. Let's say it's 4 hours, that's $540.
Correct.
You don't touch that check, you compile and you send it to the town. The town, in turn, takes out their cut and then sends the check back to the police officer that it's entitled to.
No, it's in their paycheck.
Well, that's what
It's in their paycheck.
Just get deposited in the account.
It gets deposited wherever they deposit. I have no idea where they deposit.
Okay.
I have no idea where they store. I have no idea where they keep that money. None.
Now, I have a question with regards to the asset forfeiture account.
I get ready to that real quick too.
Okay, now who signs off on that expense?
Great question. Can I start from the beginning to try to explain asset forfeiture? I just want to make sure we're done with if you don't mind.
You build a contractor, I think you said $165 an hour,
Correct.
$75.
I think it's like 85. I could be wrong, $1 or 2, I have no
What's the
idea.
other $50 an hour?
There's a FICA that the town has to pay for, which is like 0.765 cents. So it ends up being like, I don't know, like $8 or whatever that they have to pay the federal government or whatever it is. The rest of that, yeah.
Well, you have vehicles to pay for it, and
No, that goes into the general fund. That's completely separate. Goes right into the general fund. We don't see it. I don't get to spend it. I don't have a slush fund. And I don't mean to bring you out there. I know nothing about it.
that money ends up helping.
You can say that about any income that comes in with the town.
Well, took money out of general fund to pay for stuff. So if it does indirectly, it will come back.
Not all of it.
Some of it.
Talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that is coming back to the town. Again, I don't have access to whatsoever.
Please continue.
Good on that?
Yes.
So first of all, I want to say thank you because I knew nothing about any issues with outside duty overtime until brought to me via screenshot on social media and via today, Mr. Charlie. Nobody's ever explained to me any issues whatsoever about outside or special duty overtime. None whatsoever. I have to hear via photo and via Mr. Charwood over here. Asset forfeiture. I guess that's a touchy subject. I think people think that there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in this account. It is asset forfeiture. And yes, Mr. Cunningham, yes, we can use it to purchase firearms. Yes, we can use it to purchase ammo. Yes, we can use it to purchase cleaning kits. 110% can we do that. However, let's get into your question now. What was your question? Who's in charge of it?
Yeah, so
Okay.
you're going to use it for the ammo, who cuts those checks?
So asset forfeiture is governed by state statute, okay? I can't go to the town and say, town, can you please cut me a check for $500 because I'm going to pay Johnny so he can go buy crack cocaine for me so we can ultimately do a search warrant on your residence. It just does not work like that.
Right.
We have to have cash on hand, one, to pay the drug dealer to go buy cash, or two, to actually buy what we call, let's say, a burner phone, because we need a phone that we're going to unfortunately give to the drug guy so we can make contact with him. That account, by state statute, has to be in control and in custody of either one of two places, the police department or the Board of Police Commissioners. This is not something new that I just received or just started. This has been in existence, and the PE has been in existence since 1982, and they probably had one prior to in the 70s when they were constables. I don't know. All I know is I've worked tirelessly with the town's attorney, and I hope you FOI'd those emails as well, because what the town's attorney wanted with Kelly Vachon, the finance director, certain items. One, they were concerned about an EIN number that was being used. I have no idea, but they wanted a correct one. The PD at one point had taken out an EIN number in their name to protect this account. No idea where it came from. It came from the PD. I inherited it. So, town's attorney, finance director, all sat down. Town's attorney made recommendations for everybody's safety, even or everybody's benefit, so nobody's going to get sued or whatever. It should be in the town's EIN number. Okay, not a problem. Let's get it in the town's EIN number. We do that. Well, guess what? Well, Kelly or the finance director should have access to this account. Okay. The finance director actually created a new account for asset forfeiture. She is on the account. In fact, the bank statements don't even come to the PD anymore. They actually go to the finance department, who in turn has to forward them to the police department, who in turn signs off on every transaction that is on there with an initial. Another request from the town's attorney is to do a spreadsheet of any expenditure that's out of there. You have some receipts from Joey Guns. Have we purchased stuff from Joey Guns? Absolutely. It's a town business. So is K&H, who just spent probably $200,000, I don't know what it is, on the walkway out there. It's a town business. They have an armorer that other agencies or other businesses that has guns don't have. We don't have a lot of gun stores around us. We have one in Sterling, maybe one in Jewett City, I don't know. So, with that, we do that spreadsheet at the request of the town's attorney. They get that. They also get their receipts of everything that is in there. The only thing they will not get, and I will never release, is any informant name or any amount of money that I paid a drug dealer and when and where and why. It's not going to happen. It's for my protection, the officer's protection, and unfortunately, everyone else's protection as well, even the bad guy. It's all part of the system.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand that. So basically, with this asset forfeiture account, any money that you might get from drug dealers or any criminal activity that gets filled into the account, all of that cash gets put into this account?
So it doesn't even get that far yet. So that actually, let's say we do a drug raid, and I'm just going to use examples here. We do a drug raid, we end up seizing drugs, and we seize, I don't know, $3,500 in cash. We take that $3,500 in cash and place it into our evidence room. Our evidence room is secured, cameras, door fobs. There's only 2 people that can get in there. I don't even have access to that. Only 2 officers that are evidence officers that are trained to be in there can access that. We petition the court to keep that money. And what we do is, we're allowed to use it for certain things, but we'll get into that real quick. We petition the court to keep that money, right? So that guy doesn't even have to plead guilty, or that female doesn't have to plead guilty. The court says, you know what? You showed enough that that's drug money, and you're right, you get to have it. Well, not so fast. We take that $3,500, we deposit it now, based on a court order, into our drug asset forfeiture account. Once it gets deposited there, guess what we do with it? $3,500, we write a check. State of Connecticut, $3,500. And everybody's like, wait, I thought you get to keep it. Not yet. So we write $3,500 to the state of Connecticut. Well, guess what? The state of Connecticut cash it and goes, thank you very much, Plainfield PD. You get 70%. We're keeping 30. I don't know what they do with their money, but we now get 70%. I'm not going to do the math off the top of my head. That may be like $3,000 or $2,800 or whatever it may be. Now we get that money. It actually gets forwarded to the town. We don't even get it yet. It gets forwarded to the town, who in turn has to give us the check for us now to deposit into asset forfeiture account. That's where we get to use it. 1, for drugs. 2, I bought 4, maybe 5 red dots out of there because 1, it was for my DRE, which is my drug recognition expert. It was also for my narcotics canine officer. It was also for my narcotics group that I have. So I bought 5 of them. Yes, I did. Did I buy them from Joey Guns? I don't think I bought them from you. No. He was too high. So 100%, have I bought for Joey Guns? Have I bought ammo? I don't even know which one you're looking at. Yes. Do I buy all my ammunition, which is a lot of ammunition that the police department uses from Joey Guns? No, no offense. Joey Guns was too high for me. We actually buy it from a different company, AAA Supply, is where we buy all our ammunition because they are discounted there and it's cheaper to get there. And I don't know how much I'm going to use throughout the year because of training and people going to the academy. Getting back to asset forfeiture. So yes,
I have a question.
Yes.
Did you just say that the state mails you a check and you forward it down here?
No, it comes to the town hall, probably electronically or whatever it may be.
It comes from the state to the town.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we end up depositing into our account. When we see that money that the state allows us to keep, we forward the docket number in the documents to actually tell you that the state says, hey, good job, now send this money to us. They get copies of that. I don't know what more they want. Your finance director opened the account. Your finance director is on the account. I don't know what more do you need. You want every single receipt from Joey Guns? I'm going to guess off the top of my head, because we did it the other day, I spent maybe $4,200 in almost 4 years of drug money at Joey Guns, and I spent probably about $4,500, give or take, of taxpayers' money as it relates to other products or things that we may need. Mr. Cunningham talked about serial numbers. Under no circumstances am I giving serial numbers to the town hall to file for guns. We keep track of the firearms. We keep track of every single gun. We inspect, we audit every single gun everywhere. Did we replace our guns, I think, in 2022? Absolutely 2022. But guess what? Joey Guns had no part of that. Joey Guns, I don't even think was in business. I could be wrong. Wasn't even in business. We received 3 estimates. I actually gave that to Miss Peggy Bori. Showed that the purchase order, which was signed by Mr. Cunningham, the 3 estimates that we had from each company, and we replaced our guns from a company, off the top of my head, I want to say in New York. No idea, never heard of the company before. They replaced our guns. So if they don't have the documents, I don't know where or what happened or something that was missed in transaction, whether our fault for not sending it down or whether it was the finance department of misfiring. I don't know. I can't say that because I don't know. But I can tell you that I had his signature on the purchase order with the 3 estimates, and it was under $10,000, so it didn't require to go out to a sealed bid. No point is Joey Guns there. There's a 6 guys estimate. There was another estimate from some other company, and then triple, well, not ammunition, but the New York company that we ultimately purchased our guns from. My issue that lies here, and take this how you will, is any issue that we have or any issue that there are, I'm learning about now. That's all I want is for somebody to say, hey, you're doing A, B, and C wrong. Okay, what do we need to do to fix it? Obviously, and I don't mean any disrespect, we have a retired chief of police here. There are previous chiefs that we're going back in time to figure out under their command where some of this money is. But I'll tell you what, and no disrespect to any chief because they've done an amazing job, I have given more about this account than any other chief of police in the history of this department for this account. I worked with the town finance department. I have emails to back it up. I have the spreadsheet that the town attorney made for us that I submit every month to the finance department that shows every single transaction, which can be verified with the bank statement. with the bank statement. And if there's an expense, there's our receipt. I'm learning, just like you're learning, what this needs to be done. Again, we are law enforcement. If I'm investigating a financial crime, we are doing forensic audit. You're not doing an operational review. You're digging for a embezzlement crime or a fraud crime. And if there's something that's gone or there's something that's missing, I need to know about it. Because if there's concerns, I, as the chief of police, need to know about it. And this is where I'm first learning about this. Mr. Charles bringing up the outside duty. I have no idea why that hasn't been audited. I wouldn't know why. You know, there was question too on social media, why does the police department receive the check? If the town wants to send out the invoices to the company and collect the check, my administrative assistant will be extremely happy because she won't have to deal with any of those checks. But guess what? That was never brought up to me. It'd be less work for us. So that's okay. Listen, she does a lot as it is, and she's my backbone to get things done. But if we can take things off her plate, by all means. We don't cash these checks. Take that. Questions? Please, anyone.
Comment was made about payroll going back, signatures and stuff like that, initials and getting more information on that. But it is my understanding that recently some of the payroll reporting was just turned over here.
That is correct. So initially, we would submit payroll, the town would take it and actually would upload it into their ADP system, and we would have errors. And it could be some on our end, some on the town's end. There would be issues regarding pay because of the ADP system that was being utilized. It wasn't getting rectified, and you would see that there was about 31 grievances that the police officers had. And if you ever have time, please go back and actually watch the police commission meeting, which we went over payroll and how payroll actually works. And you know, we talked about minimums and figuring out minimums in the system that needs to take place for minimum pay. That's a whole nother thing. But getting into the payroll, you are correct. So officers were getting paid bi-weekly. So when there was an error in their check, it'd be almost like a month till they actually had the right amount of money actually put back in. That obviously became an issue because, not for nothing, not everybody, some people do live paycheck to paycheck, or some people actually are the only income coming in for their home, so it's tough for them to have to wait. We're the only department that actually has bi-weekly pay in the whole town. So needless to say, the town and the union worked on an agreement to do weekly pay. All aspects, and I mean all aspects now of payroll, has been transferred over to the PD. Every aspect of it. If there was issues, why would you give the police department full authority now to do the complete payroll? And still, we do the complete payroll and we back everything up and send it to the town hall. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I got an email from an auditing firm stating that the department uses a different payroll system than the rest of the town, and they needed documents. So I said, what do you need? So we sent them a whole payroll process. In turn, auditing company emailed back, said, great job, everything's there, have a good day. I don't know what else it is that you want or what anybody else wants. Whatever you need or whatever document you think is missing, come ask. It's there. We back everything up with a paper trail. We are still signing overtime slips with paper, literally with copies of paper. We have colored paper, pink for comp time, blue for outside duty, white for special duty, green for holiday pay or banking your holiday. There's documentation for everything. If something's missing, I'm sure somewhere along the line it got missed in a transition. We're not in this building, so it's not easy just coming here. But every single time a cop comes to this building and delivers paperwork, that cop must report it to dispatch, who they handed it to, and what time, so we can create that actually digital trail of what documents actually ended up here at the town hall. And I don't mean to come across and push everything here. It's just frustrating that I'm learning things now when all this could have been done with communication and be fixed, or if anything needs to be fixed, or just ask. We can have different opinions on what needs or what can be spent out of asset forfeiture. That's okay. But you know what? State of Connecticut has guidelines. And if I spent it out of drug money, and maybe I should have took it out of the line item, out of taxpayer money, okay, take the $20 cleaning kit out, we'll make the taxpayers pay for it instead of the drug money. But I can. It's there. It's there.
There was 4 things that were highlighted. You covered 3 of them, and maybe in the process of your explanations I missed this. The purchase of blocks was mentioned.
Yeah.
If you could revisit that.
Yeah, so what we had is, I think there were 9mm, I could be wrong, Springfield Armory XDS guns. I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to the exact models of guns, so to say. I'm not great. So we were suffering problems with our firearms. We'd be on the training range and they would actually jam consistently. I went to the town. I think I had the money in the time. I think I had to do a line item transfer. I could be wrong. It was back in 2022 that I advised the first selectman that we needed to get rid of these guns and that we needed to trade them in, and that's what we did. We traded our guns in. I want to say 20 at that time. We traded 20 guns in, and we purchased blocks, 49mm 45. Right? 45. Yeah, but they're 9mm. So we purchased 20 of them. Again, we received 3 estimates according to the procurement policy. We received 3 estimates, got the purchase order signed, and we purchased the guns. Whether there's no check, I don't know where the check went. They never complained to us that they never received the check, so there was no check given. I guess we saved almost $10,000. But you would think if we never gave them a check for it, we as a PD wouldn't give them a check. Unless I was purchasing 20 blocks out of the agriculture, which I clearly didn't, because these are the current firearms right here that we use now. I don't know what other information I had. I actually brought it to one of the selectmen's knowledge. I showed her the forms. I showed her the purchase order. I showed the estimates. I don't know. What else would you want? So we transitioned completely from the Springfield to the blocks. 45 ACP, is that right?
Well, no, the G45s are 9mm.
All right, whatever.
Anybody on the board have any questions for the chief?
I can remember the blocks purchase. I remember being at the police commission meetings when they were discussing. I remember all that. It was not too long ago.
6 guys was one of the estimates, and they were in town, and they came in, I think, maybe the highest.
Yeah. I remember all this. I mean, it wasn't done behind closed doors. It's all done out in the public. I mean, I don't know what the problem is. What's that? I don't get it.
Again, I mean, getting back to special duty, if they want to take over sending out invoices and collecting checks here, all power to them.
I just can't see that happening either, because they're always saying that they're so busy over here. I don't think they've got time for it either. I don't think they need another task in that office. You know, I don't know what the answer is, but this is crazy. You got to figure out what the problem is and get this straightened out amongst yourselves.
And getting back to the special duty and invoices, it's always been done that way. Not saying that there's not better ways, but it's not that there was something different and I just changed it coming in as chief of police. This is something that's been done consistently the same time every time. This is the first time that they were talking about not auditing that account. I don't have the account.
Any other questions for the chief?
I know the chairman, I don't know if I missed anything, but I don't know if he had something as well. For our chairman.
Right there. Not that I have much to say. We pretty much covered everything. Yeah, they asked about Joey Guns. Joey Guns one for Mr. Charlie, pointed out $8,500, whatever it was, in the last 3 or 4 years. here's what we do at Joey Guns, all right? We have, guns are a hobby of mine. I started that business off the side. We build guns for warfighters, all right? We build special guns that SWAT, right? We build SWAT guns, we build warfighter guns. My armor, crews, special forces, highly decorated, Purple Heart, 3 or 4 tours, outstanding system, outstanding person. He builds this stuff. One of those guns we got from the chief came in. If that officer would have drawn that weapon, it wouldn't have fired. Trigger spring was in battery. He would have had to discard that firearm, go to his sidearm. We fixed that stuff. We put it in there. I think everybody that qualified on the guns qualified 300 too. Listen, you guys want to put the gun somewhere else? 7.
Well, my concern is, or my question is, if they think this is an ethics violation, why are they in the Board of Finance? We have an ethics board. This should be brought to the ethics board, not us.
Well, how about tell us when we first started?
If you feel this is an ethics problem, this should go to the ethics board.
Okay.
It's not our fault we didn't have an ethics board running for all the years.
Okay.
The commission has never heard of anything. They never brought nothing to the commission on anything that was wrong. It's all been hearsay. I think I was blamed for putting the PD up to the guys up to the vote of no confidence. I found out when my wife told me on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. I cannot believe the amount of time people spend on Facebook. It baffles me how they must have no life. So I found out that 24 hours after unit. All of it, whatever. If they don't want to use me, the town doesn't want to use me, that's fine. But I will tell you this. I donate quite a bit to the town. Various things. 35,000 a year or whatever. I know the town,
Not to us.
not to them. I think what I'll do is I'll just stop doing that and donate all my money to and thanks, God.
It's fine.
I don't know what to say. I'm pretty much about it. I'm an open book. You want to know something? Ask away. That's all I got.
What's an armor?
So, Joe Sagamano can explain that better. So he's a retired law enforcement. He's also retired military. He's actually one of the best at what they do. And they are correct. We belong to a governmental program where we obtain assault rifles for free, in essence, through military surplus. In turn, it's designed for military. It's not designed for law enforcement. We have to get those inspected, checked out, and ready for the road for our officers. So yes, 100% did I have guns reconfigured and made sure they were appropriate for law enforcement? You better believe it. And did I use Gregory Cruz? You better believe it. You know why? Because he's one of the best. And you know what? Our officers deserve that, and I'll do it every single day. No problem whatsoever.
You had mentioned 30-some odd grievances per day. How many of those resulted in an initial underpayment to the officer?
Nearly 99% of them?
So the grievances were justified in that they were owed money that they did not receive initially.
That's correct.
They weren't getting it in a timely manner either.
Correct. So remember, you have to wait the extra 2 weeks, and that was a big concern because they would have to wait so long to get rectified.
So now the payroll issue has been resolved.
We've had no issues right now. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be mistakes, especially with the systems that we use and that are in place, even on our end, 100%. But now that we're doing the payroll, the mistakes can get fixed right there. So we don't have to have that extra channel of getting it at the town hall, going from the PD event to the town hall. So we can fix those now. We haven't had a grievance, so we have no issues because the officers can come upstairs. I'm just utilizing a bigger speech. They can come upstairs and say, hey, I got a problem with A, B, C, or D. And I think last week was the first week that we actually transitioned the officers to weekly pay. So not only are they doing weekly pay now, my administrative assistant is doing weekly pay for the officers, but now we're doing bi-weekly pay for civilian staff and dispatchers. So
the payroll issue is relatively, it's just started that you've got a different system with it now.
correct.
So,
But that was the weekly pay system, but the payroll issues, we started taking pretty much full control of it, I want to say a month to 2 months ago. I could be wrong about the time-wise.
so it's resolved in-house, basically.
We haven't had a grievance since.
I don't understand why the rest of these issues can't be resolved in-house instead of having an expense, and it's not going to be just the RFP for an audit. There'll be other expenses that will go along with some.
There's going to be a lot of expenses that go on with it, because one, who's supposed to stay with the auditing company? Because my administrative assistant has duties, so am I supposed to assign her? So now who takes over her duties? And there has to be an attorney present before any documents that we hand over to ensure that we are allowed to hand these documents over. So just because it says $35,000, don't think that that's going to be the final cost. Because also at the end of the day, if you do read the RFP, it actually says 2020. And apparently they're going back to 2017. But in the proposal that I have, it says 2020. So allegedly the auditing firm would do the other 3 years for free. So I don't know.
And you'll have to have a separate attorney from the town attorney.
The commission has been requesting that Mr. Sangermano can speak on behalf of that.
And who would pay for that attorney?
The town would have to pay for that attorney.
We put in I talked 3 times the selectmen about this, twice in writing now, one verbally. The first time in writing, we addressed that at police commission meeting, that we want the third party out. We didn't want the same attorney, nothing against the town attorney or anything like that. It just seemed like a conflict of interest. And the rest of the people on the board, the rest of the commission on board. So we did request third party legal representation. With that being said, we as the commission also told them, the PD, not to relinquish anything until we had that. Because we were hiding something? No. Because they have people, they have their lawyers. He's talking to them every day. We had nobody. We had nobody to go up. We can't even get anybody to show up at a special meeting or one of our meetings to ask questions or give us an idea what's going on. So yes, we did put a stop to it. I went in the second time to ask what was going on. I talked to the selectman. He basically said he didn't really see why we needed it. He would talk to whatever selectman Art or whatever, and they get back to them, nothing. So third time, went in there the other day, which I think they said I barged in. I didn't barge in. Quite nicely went in. Lisa wasn't there. Shannon, I think it's Shannon. I think it's 2 years. She said, yeah, I went in, got him, come out. Let him read paper. He still said he didn't think I needed it, and then he said he used the town fair. And then after that, he said, you didn't even ask for how much you wanted. How much? I don't know how much you want. And then I called him name, he didn't want to talk to me. So, yeah, 3 times. Still nothing. Told me he was going to put it on correspondence last night. Didn't happen.
So Kevin, can you work with the police commissioner and the police department and settle this in-house instead of?
I can. Let me go back on a couple of points first, just to make sure. Chief, I think that your numbers you were asked a question about the grievances, the 30 grievances we've had so far, and you said 99% were related to pay. That's not quite true. The issue that we had was one officer had filed 2 grievances over animal issues for pay.
Animal issues for pay?
Yeah. That's separate from the major issues that we've had up to that point. You yourself had put in an email stating that you're not going to make any changes to the pay, and so therefore whatever came to our department was presented and posted to ADP. Those were wrong. Well, the final 14 that came in one shot was because ADP forgot to put in the upgrades from $81 to $84, and that is their fault. So
ADP's fault?
Yes, absolutely.
No, I'm just asking.
So as far as that goes, I do want to say that I have been requested for monies for attorney, of which the charter says clearly in there that our town attorney covers all of our boards and commissions, including yours, including Board of Police Commissioners. That's who they should go through. So,
Does it also say that you could vote to have another attorney?
absolutely. But we are looking at the cost, I didn't know what the cost was, how am I gonna vote for that?
We don't know what the cost, well, I shouldn't say that because they requested it.
Yep.
We don't know what the cost is, we just asked for someone to be able to do it, get the money to go do it.
So, just for clarification, myself, so I can understand this. Basically, we have two departments of the finance. We have the finance, the selectmen, and the finance of the police department, police commission, right? We've got disagreements. So the town attorney is with the selectmen and the finance department. You want the police department to use the same attorney.
Again, they cover, I just mentioned, they cover everybody, all boards and commissions and the town officials.
Would you, if you and I were in a legal battle, we're neighbors, we're fighting each other, we're in a legal battle, would you use the same attorney as me?
This isn't like that at all.
But that's what you're doing. Same thing. You're having a disagreement, and we're to the point where we're escalating, we're bringing lawyers involved, and you want to use the same lawyer.
Is that what we're looking at, the town suing the town?
No.
Is that what we're looking at?
No,
Because there's only two boards that can have that,
But
and both are land use.
Correct. Land use boards, they had two different attorneys, isn't that?
Again, that's the only reason why you go to two. You had asked earlier about the next time coming forward with an attorney if we use vote. That would be upon your board, what you plan on doing with your vote tonight.
Listening to the selectman and the chief discussing the issues, this, to me, sounds resolvable right here at this level. Why isn't there something going on? And I think I've been told that, four people can't be in the same office at the same time. There should be a way to resolve this. Sean mentioned it. I don't think we need to go to forensic audit, and I don't think we need to go to attorney.
I'm wondering if a lot of these issues can be taken care of in November when the HR person comes on staff.
One other thing I wanted to point out just before I close. First, the RFP said 2020, but there was also an addendum to that to say 2017. So that was out there in the public to the companies available to 11 companies that did apply for it. Second thing is kind of as important as anything else, asking for the information from the asset forfeiture accounts prior to 2022 when it was changed over. Why can we not get
Kevin, I
that?
have a question. Initially decided to put out an RFP to do it, and who decided there was going to be, was that the Board of Selectmen?
Kelly and I talked about it. We put together a plan with the Board of Selectmen and voted on it.
Was it unanimous?
So two people decided that there needed to be a forensic audit based on
Information received.
information from Kelly.
Did that vote happen before the RFP went out?
I think it did. Hi.
Because I went back through the minutes.
I don't think it did.
And I couldn't find a Board of Selectmen meeting where this was discussed or voted on.
They said they wanted the documents prior to 2022. Okay. Never asked for them, but okay. Whatever documents they have, there's full transparency. There's just certain things that are not going to be released in what we talk about. You want documents when we have the account at Fleet Bank in Moosup, okay. It's still the same thing. You still have the statements. It's still the same thing. It's not going to be digital, but...
So we put out an RFP, and we got 11 bids, okay, and you accepted one of them, and hence, you want to
34, 5.
I might add, if I could, please, this isn't like we haven't had meetings on this. This isn't like, you just screw it, we're not going to any meeting to talk about it. There's been meeting after meeting after meeting. I've met with 2 state reps and the selectmen. I've met with Kelly, the chief, the selectmen, the finance, Doty, Colleen, union president, Katie was there. This has been, we've worked on this for a while. I said in many of my meetings, you tried and tried and tried. It's not getting it. We're not getting it. Why keep doing the same thing? Can we sit there and say, use the town's attorney? Richard has great, it's a conflict of interest. He writes their check. Why wouldn't we use them? There's a reason for all this. Listen, you don't like me, that's fine. Is this a problem with the PD or is it a problem with Joey Johnson for a second round? If it is, come at it.
Can I speak, like, to the board? Because I feel like we're going round and round. We all have a good idea of what's going on.
Any questions for me?
You look tired.
Well, no, I want my.
Before we do, if there's anybody that has some other obligation, you can't stay on that. Because it is getting, you're 2 hours in.
Oh, it's over.
It's over.
You know, I volunteered for this job, and I was picked from the citizens of this town to serve. Just like all you have. We have a responsibility to citizens. When I run like Joe Sangamano or Kevin, it just really doesn't matter. I have a responsibility. I feel like the request that has come forward is frivolous, and it would be reckless for me. It's just my personal feelings, but it would be reckless for me to appropriate any money at this time. If there's more information that comes forward, then let's do it.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I asked the question or not. Would you be willing to work with the PD other than the forensic audit and the police commission to get these issues settled without having to spend all the money?
I would have to put a list of questions and concerns together and then sit down.
I have zero problem with that whatsoever. I would just recommend, because obviously we have some sort of conflict of interest, that we actually invite a member of the Board of Finance, and also maybe a citizen that existing, so they can ask questions as well. I think that's something we can get into that meeting or what we have to just get out there, so that way we can all get different opinions from everybody else, and as well as a member or two from the board, of the Board of Finance. I think that's something that should happen.
Or do you do it as an open forum meeting between the Board of Selectmen and the Police Commission as one group meeting? Where we sit down and do it together?
You mean a public meeting? Like
Yes, just like this. That way everything's right out in the public and it's being dealt with in front of the citizens.
I like it.
Well, we can't make that motion. They have to determine that. We don't know that.
There can be. Might be another waste of time.
I don't know if it's the right word. Like to deny, I move to deny the request by the Board of Selectmen for appropriating $34,500 from the fund balance to conduct a forensic audit.
You know what?
We have a second.
Well, it's not working correctly because they didn't actually appropriate the money. They requested that we move it forward. So we're declining.
Deny the, the wording, that's what I said. I don't know what wording.
I don't know.
Deny the request.
We continue the discussion a little bit. Okay, so I don't know that we want to completely shut this down. I think we need to table it. Let them get time to get together and have the discussions. If we table it out for a month or two, they can get together, do what they got to do, and hopefully resolve the issues, and we can remove it at that point. Because if we dismiss it at this point, will they be able to bring it back to us?
Well, I have a question regarding that also. We have elections coming up. The police commission could change, the selectmen could change.
Board of Finance
Board of
Board of
Finance could change. Board of Finance. So how do we clarify how we would go forward?
They can bring it back up in budget season, correct?
Good. How far off you want to spring this to?
Sure. Do this now.
You
I want to deny the request now. I agree.
That's a motion.
That's a motion.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second to deny the request for the town meeting. Okay. Any other discussion?
I only have one thing to say. I think it's a lot of money that the town is spending, so I understand that. And I think Joey's got his couple of easy guns, but seeing as his position as police commissioner, maybe we should try to avoid the appearance of people per se, and, the conflict of interest there, ethics. Perhaps maybe they find another distributor my suggestion. I don't think we can tell them what to do, but to me that seems a little bit of a red flag. That could be easily avoided.
The contracts we usually put up a bid check.
Anything of value has to go on bid, so anything over $10,000 has to go out to bid. Otherwise, anything over $2,500,
They would just avoid the whole, conflict of interest.
In all honesty, this motion has nothing to do with that.
That's all.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say, and I know the Board of Ed has to look on this, I use local vendors all the time. When I redid the pavement in front of ECC, I used a vendor who was 2 doors down. We use local vendors sitting behind me all the time. We try to use local vendors, because that's money saving our city.
Are your local vendors on the board? Yes.
All right. Let's take it back in. Yeah, let's restate the motion.
So I move to deny the request to send to town meeting this.
And we have a second on that? And we have a second. All right, restate it, please, loudly and clearly.
She's already got it written down.
I know she's got it written down.
I move to deny the request to send to town meeting.
Motion made in second.
Motion made in second. Any further discussion on the motion? All right.
Try to make it simple.
Okay, yep. All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Motion carries.
I'm going to abstain.
Abstain. There you go. All right. All right.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any
I like to
abstentions?
win.